for maintenance of public order and tranquility. Previously, we have discussed the powers of executive magistrate to take bond for keeping peace and for good behavior, as per section 107, 108, 109 and 110. But here, this maintenance of public order and tranquility, for that, the executive magistrate, police officers are empowered to take action as per the chapter 10 of the Criminal Procedure Code. What do you mean by tranquility? Tranquility means to being state of calmness. The public peace should be maintained at any cost. So, section 129 provides dispersal of assembly by use of civil force. What is civil force? What is criminal force? You should know the difference between civil force and the criminal, this armed force. Civil force and armed force. Armed force, a persons, that is a force which are authorized to use arms, that is arms and ammunition, that is like Army, Navy, Air Force, CRPF persons, those are armed force officers. But civil force means a police officer is not an armed force officer, but civil force, a police officer also can use civil force. What section 129 provides? Any executive magistrate or officer in charge of police station, or in absence of executive magistrate or officer in charge of police officer, any police officer, not below the rank of a sub-inspector, what? May command any unlawful assembly or any assembly of 5 or more persons likely to cause disturbance of public peace to disperse. Who will pass order? Who will command? That any executive magistrate or officer in charge of a police station, or so the executive magistrate is not there, officer in charge of the police station is not there, any police officer above the rank of a, not below the rank of a sub-inspector of police, may command, but for dispersal of an unlawful assembly. What is unlawful assembly? That has been designated. What is unlawful? That has been defined in the Indian Penal Code. 5 or more persons, assembly of 5 or more persons, to use force or to show of criminal force, to overthrow the government, or all such definitions are there in section 141 of the IPC. What? Here, when there is an unlawful assembly, the executive magistrate may command for dispersal of the assembly, because if the unlawful assembly is dispersed, then there will be peace. There may not be commission of a crime. Or who will command? The executive magistrate or officer in charge of police station, or in their absence, any police officer not below the rank of a sub-inspector of police may command for dispersal of an unlawful assembly, or any assembly of 5 or more persons likely to cause disturbance of the public peace. That may not be unlawful assembly, but an assembly or gathering of 5 or more persons which is likely to cause disturbance of public peace may not be, that assembly may not be unlawful assembly. But when assembly of 5 or more persons, 5 or more persons likely to cause disturbance of public peace, what? To disperse. Disperse means what? To leave that place, to disperse. And it shall thereupon be the duty of the member of such assembly to disperse accordingly. So now, who are empowered? The executive magistrate, officer in charge police station, or in their absence, a police officer not below the rank of a sub-inspector may command that unlawful assembly be dispersed, or assembly of 5 or more persons which is not unlawful, which is likely to cause disturb the public peace to disperse. If such a command is given, then in such case, such member must disperse. Such member assembly should disperse. So if there is a command, if being commanded for dispersal, in spite of that, there is no dispersal. The persons who are the members, they do not disperse. Then in such case, civil force is to be used. What it says? If upon being so commanded, any such assembly does not disperse. After the command order is given, as per subsection 1, if that unlawful assembly is not dispersed, or without being so commanded, it conducts itself in such a manner as to show a determination not to disperse. So here again, suppose though command has not been made, given to dispersal, it conducts itself, that assembly conducts in such a manner as to show a determination not to disperse. So not to disperse. Then any executive magistrate or a police officer referred to in subsection 1, that means officer in charge of police station, or in their absence, any police officer not below the rank of a sub-inspector of police may proceed to disperse such assembly by force. Here force means a civil force, not armed force. And may, by force, it will be dispersed, and may require the assistance of any male person for dispersal of that assembly by use of civil force. The police officer, executive magistrate, etc. may require the assistance of any male person, not being an officer or member of the armed forces. But your armed force officers' assistance is not to be taken. Because section 129 will provide the dispersal of unlawful assembly by civil force. Any male member may take the assistance of any male member for dispersal of that assembly by use of force, but not with the assistance of an armed force officer, and acting as such for the purpose of dispersion, and if necessary, and if it is required that the dispersal is not possible, even by use of force, if required, by arresting such person and confining the person who form part of it, by arresting the member of such assembly or confining the persons who form that assembly, in order to only what for? Only in order to disperse such assembly, or that they may be punished according to law for the dispersal of that assembly, or to punish them according to law, that is for contempt of the order of that public servant, as per section 188 of the Indian Penal Code. So section 129, you should understand. You might have seen, you might have heard, when some police officers, they arrest, they take, and thereafter they leave those persons. And once there is dispersal assembly, those persons are set free. So what? Section 129 gives power to the executive magistrate, officer in charge of police station, or any officer, if such a police officer is not there, such in absence, not any police officer not below the rank of a sub-inspector, to command for dispersal of unlawful assembly or assembly of 5 or more persons which is likely to disturb public peace. And if such command is given, then in such case the members of that assembly must disperse. If after such command they do not disperse, or even if there is no command, but if the executive magistrate or the officer in charge police station or any police officer not below the rank of sub-inspector of police finds that they are determined, so that is the conduct of such person is in such a manner that will show a determination of not dispersal. In such case, what? Such magistrate, police officer may proceed to disperse such assembly by using civil force, and for that purpose may take the help of any male member of the public, not the help of the armed force officer. And if required for dispersal of that assembly, such person may be arrested or may be taken into custody, arrested, or and confine for the purpose of dispersal and or that they may be punished according to law. Section 120. Now, the section 130, use of armed forces to disperse assembly. If any such assembly cannot be otherwise dispersed, that means even by use of civil force, that cannot be otherwise dispersed. If any such assembly cannot be otherwise dispersed, and not only that, and if it is necessary for the public security, that it should be dispersed. Two requirements. That such assembly cannot be otherwise dispersed. That means cannot be dispersed by civil force, and it is necessary that the assembly must be dispersed. What for? For public security. For public security. So in such case, and dispersal is required for public security, then the executive magistrate of the highest rank who is present, suppose 2 to 3 executive magistrates are present there. Any executive magistrate of the highest rank who is present there may cause it to be dispersed by the armed forces. So who will command? The executive magistrate of the highest rank who is present there, he may command for dispersal of an assembly by use of armed force. When the dispersal is not possible by use of civil force, and it is necessary that the dispersal is required for public security. Two requirements, two conditions must be there. That means the unlawful assembly cannot be dispersed, otherwise dispersed, and it is necessary that such dispersal is required, is necessary for public security. In such case, the executive magistrate of the highest rank present, he may command for dispersal of that assembly by armed force, by the armed force. Then such magistrate may require any officer in, suppose you will pass an order for dispersal of the assembly by armed force, then in such case, to whom such order will be given? The executive magistrate in highest rank who is present there may require any officer in command any group of persons, the commander of that group of the armed force, who is the head person of that group of the armed force, that is commanding officer, he will be ordered belonging to the armed force to disperse. The executive magistrate will command, may require the commanding officer of the armed force to disperse disperse that assembly by use of armed force, with the help of the armed force under his command, and to arrest and confine such person forming part of his as the magistrate may direct. While commanding the commanding officer requiring the commanding officer to disperse the unlawful assembly, disperse the unlawful assembly by use of armed force, the executive magistrate may also pass order that any person forming the part of that assembly may be arrested or may be confined, as it may be necessary to arrest and confine. What for? The same requirement, for dispersal of that assembly or to punish him according to law. So this is, now subsection 3 says, every officer of the armed force, so one such order has been made, one such order has been passed by the executive magistrate, highest rank present in the spot, requiring the commander, the commanding officer of the armed force to disperse the assembly by use of armed force. In such case, one such order is passed by the executive magistrate, then every such officer of the armed force, all such officer, each persons of that group of the armed force shall obey such requisition in such manner as he thinks fit. In such manner that will be done. But in so doing, in dispersing that assembly, unlawful assembly by armed force, the armed force in so doing shall use as little force and do as little injury to person and property. These things will as little injury, as little force. Every such member of the armed force will act, shall obey such requisition, but not commanding order is not there, only requisition. Such requisition of the executive magistrate in dispersing such assembly use as little force and as little injury to person and property as may be consistent with the dispersing of the assembly, as is required for dispersing of that assembly and arresting and detaining such person. So here, while arresting that person or dispersing that assembly or detaining such person, every member of that armed force will obey, while obeying such requisition, shall use, while obeying that order, shall use as little force and cause as little injury to the person or property for dispersal of that assembly, or for arresting the member of that assembly, or for confining the member of that assembly. Section 131, power of certain armed force officer to disperse assembly. There may be a situation when executive magistrate is not there, but armed police is present, and there is immediate danger to the security of the public. So imminent danger is manifestly endangered. Their security is manifestly endangered. Apparently, the security of the public security is endangered. In such case, the commanding officer may not wait for the requisition of the executive magistrate. He may order for use of armed force, but whenever it is possible on his part to communicate with the executive magistrate, then immediately he will take order from the executive magistrate to proceed further, whether armed force will be used or not. This section 139 says, power of certain armed force officials to disperse assembly. When armed force officer can use, this commanding officer has a power to direct for armed force, use of armed force without the requisition of the executive magistrate. When the public security is manifestly endangered by any such assembly, apparently endangered. Public security is apparently endangered by such assembly, and no executive magistrate can be communicated with. Two requirements: that executive magistrate, there is no time to communicate with the executive magistrate, and the public security is manifestly endangered, and in such case, any commissioned or gazetted officer of the armed force, only commissioned officer or gazetted officer of the armed force may disperse such assembly with the help of the armed force under his command. So when any commissioned officer of the armed force or any gazetted officer of the armed force, in absence of the executive magistrate, when executive magistrate cannot be communicated and he finds that the public security is manifestly in danger, in such case, that commissioned officer or any gazetted officer of the armed force officer may command for dispersal of that assembly by armed force, and dispersal with the help of armed force under his command, and may arrest and confine any person forming part of it. He may also command for arrest or confining of any member of that assembly, in order to, what for? To require, in order to dispersal of that assembly, or to punish that person according to law, or punish that according to law. But if while he is acting under this section, suppose the commissioned officer of the armed force or the gazetted officer of the armed force, while acting under this section, it becomes practical for him to communicate with the executive magistrate. So while in the meantime, suppose that commissioned officer or the gazetted officer of who are commanded for use of armed force, he communicates with the executive magistrate. In such case, he shall do so and shall therefore thenceforth and from then onwards obey the instruction of the executive magistrate as to whether he shall or he shall not continue in his action, continue his order, continue his command, continue with his order of command to use armed force. Now section 132 says that is a protection is given against prosecution for acts done under preceding section. That is, civil force is used. Then here, as per section 131, armed force can be used. So when civil force is used or any armed force is used for dispersal of the assembly, there may be any harm to a person or property of somebody by such order. In such case, there cannot be a suit or prosecution against such person. Because when he has acted in good faith, what it says? No prosecution against any person for any act purported to done under section 129 by use of civil force or section 130 or section 131 shall be instituted any criminal court. No prosecution shall be instituted in criminal except with the sanction of the central government where such person is an officer or member of the armed force. If such person, prosecution may be done, but when sanction is given by the central government, if the such armed force officer is a member of the armed force officer, then such a no prosecution can be done, can lie against a person, against an officer of the armed force. If he does any overact or if he does any act while exercising this force without previous sanction of the central government or with the sanction of the state government in either case, if that civil force is there or any other case, the state government sanction is required. Then no executive magistrate or police officer acting under any of these said section in good faith. So there cannot be a prosecution against an executive magistrate or a police officer acting under any of these said sections in good faith. Second, no person doing any act in good faith in compliance with requisition under section 129 or 130. So when a requisition has been given by the executive magistrate to use armed force or section 1, in such case, there will be no prosecution. No person doing any act under section 129 or 130, he cannot be prosecuted if he has acted in good faith. No member of the armed force doing an act in obedience to order which was bound to obey shall be deemed to have thereby committed an offense. As you know, it is a general exception chapter is also there. If a public servant does anything, does any act in obedience to the public duty, that is not an offense. So again, it has been provided here. No member of the armed forces doing any act in obedience to any order which was bound to obey. If any order has been given to an armed force officer and to which he bound to obey, shall be deemed to have thereby committed an offense. In this section and in the preceding section of this chapter, the expression who is armed force? Armed force means the military, naval and air forces operating as land forces. Sometimes military officer and this naval officer and air force officer operated as land force, then he will be treated as armed force officer and include any other armed forces of the union so operating. So he will be treated as armed force. Officer in relation to the armed force means a person commissioned, gazetted or in pay as an officer of the armed forces. A person who is a commissioned officer or gazetted or in pay as an officer of the armed force, he will be treated as officer and includes a junior commissioned officer. Junior commissioned officer will be also treated as an officer, a warrant officer, a petty officer. Petty officer is designated, he will be treated as officer of the armed force, because here when that is as per section 131, who will pass order? Any commissioned or a gazetted officer can order for use of armed force in absence of the executive magistrate when he finds there is public security is manifestly in danger. So here, who is an officer? Officer means a commissioned officer, gazetted officer of the armed force, or in pay as an officer of the armed force, and includes a junior commissioned officer, a warrant officer, a petty officer, a non-commissioned officer, and a non-gazetted officer. Member in relation to the armed force means a person in the armed forces other than officer. Member means who is not an officer, any other junior officer will be treated as member of the armed force. This that is for maintenance of public order and tranquility. Who this assembly, unlawful assembly will be dispersed. Assembly of 5 or more persons which is likely to disturb public peace is to be dispersed. We have covered this. Now, the section 133, conditional order for removal of nuisance. What is nuisance? You know, public nuisance has been defined in the Indian Penal Code. That is nuisance. Causing any obstruction may be nuisance, is to be treated as nuisance. Causing any annoyance to somebody, that is nuisance. So whoever does an act which causes any annoyance, injury, or danger to the public, that is public nuisance. And any obstruction of road, etc., that is public nuisance. Section 268, we find the public nuisance has been defined there. But here, nuisance. Conditional order for removal of nuisance. Section 133 empowers the district magistrate, sub-regional magistrate, or executive magistrate. Executive magistrate who is empowered by who is authorized by the state government to pass a conditional order for removal of public nuisance. Certain public nuisance as provided in that section. What it says? Whenever a district magistrate, a sub-regional magistrate, or any other executive magistrate specially empowered in this behalf by the state government. District magistrate, no power is required. Special empower is not required. Sub-regional magistrate, no special empower is. But if an executive magistrate special empowered to act as per section 133, on receiving the report of a police officer or other information, on what? On receiving a report from the police or other information in private complaint, and on taking such evidence, if any, as he thinks fit. First, on receiving a police report or any information from other source, information or other information, and taking such evidence as he thinks fit, considers. What he considers? That any unlawful obstruction, nuisance should be removed from any public place. First, from whom? Who receives information? The district magistrate, sub-regional magistrate, or executive magistrate specially empowered by the state government to act as per section 133. And on taking such evidence as he thinks fit, considers. What he considers? That there is an unlawful obstruction or nuisance. There is an unlawful obstruction of any place, public place, or way, or river, or channel, or a nuisance is there. Public unlawful obstruction or nuisance should be removed. There is a nuisance or unlawful obstruction from any public place is to be removed, or from any way is to be removed, either obstruction nuisance or channel which is or may be lawfully used by public. First is considers. What considers? What is there? That he considers there is an unlawful nuisance or a unlawful obstruction or nuisance is to be removed. From where? From any way, from any place, from any river. There is obstruction of a channel, that is to be removed, or which is or may be lawfully used by the public. That is lawfully used. Or that the conduct of any trade or occupation, trade means a business or occupation, somebody is doing some act, or the keeping of any goods or merchandise, that the conduct of any trade or occupation, somebody is conducting a trade, suppose or occupation, or the keeping of any goods or merchandise is injurious to the health. Somebody has kept a goods somewhere and that is injurious to health. Suppose a tannery is there, or suppose somebody is doing an occupation which is injurious to health or physical comfort of somebody. Somebody is, there is a place, a goods is kept somewhere that is injurious to health or physical comfort of the community, and that in consequence of such trade or occupation should be prohibited. Suppose such occupation or trade is prohibited or regulated, or such goods or merchandise should be removed, or the keeping thereof be regulated. Considers. What he considers? That the conduct of any trade. Somebody is doing a business, somebody is doing a trade, or somebody is acting, is your occupation means his livelihood is doing something, or the keeping of any goods or merchandise. He has kept a goods. Suppose somebody has had somewhere some this leather, this that is, or some this noxious articles, noxious things. So merchandise that is injurious to the health or physical comfort of the community. Physical comfort of the community. Here also, any trade of, here even a crusher unit is there. Somebody is running a crusher. There is no license, etc. That is polluting the atmosphere, polluting the area. There is pollution to the place. So that the conduct of any trade or occupation. Here trade, somebody is doing some trade that is also causing nuisance to others, injurious to health or physical comfort. Physical comfort is, is there of the community, and that in consequence of trade or occupation should be prohibited or regulated. Such a trade or this occupation should be prohibited or should be regulated, or such goods or merchandise should be removed. Somebody has kept a goods or merchandise which should be removed. The keeping thereof are regulated, or that the construction of any building or the disposal of any substance as is likely to occasion conflagration or explosion. That is, there may be some building is being constructed, or some substance is kept, explosive substance is kept, that is that is likely to cause fire or explosion, should be prevented or stopped. Consider that should be prevented or stopped. Or that any building, tent or structure, building or tent or structure, or any tree. Suppose a building is there in a dangerous condition, it may fall at any time. Or there is a tree which is a dead tree, it may fall at any time, that by the side of the road, and it may cause danger to somebody. Or tent or structure or any tree is in such a condition that it is likely to fall and thereby cause injury to person living or carrying on business in the neighborhood. Person living or carrying on business in the neighborhood. Suppose somebody has a coconut tree. That coconut tree is in such a condition that it may fall at any time and cause injury to person living or carrying on business in the neighborhood, living in the neighborhood or carrying in business, or passing by, even passing by, and that in consequence the removal, repair or support of such building, tent or structure, or the removal of suppose is necessary. That removal of tree is required. That is removal of such support or structure is required, or repair is required, or that any tank, well or excavation adjacent to any such way. Suppose there is a tank adjacent to a, there is a well, that is unfenced well, somewhere some excavation is there adjacent to any such way, or public place should be fenced. That should be fenced. Considers that any well, tank or excavated place should be fenced. should be fenced in such a manner as to prevent danger arise to the public. That it will be fenced in such a manner for prevention of danger to the public. That any dangerous animal should be destroyed, confined, or otherwise disposed of. Somebody has a animal. Somebody is keeping a dog. That dog has become mad, or that is a dangerous animal. That should be destroyed or confined. That should be kept confined. Even some docile animal, not a wild animal, say any animal. So a pet animal may become dangerous. Suppose a dangerous animal should be destroyed, confined, or otherwise disposed of. Then such magistrate may make a conditional order. Here a conditional order means first, that is conditional order, not final order. Conditional order, that is so cause in a order like a so cause notice. Conditional order requiring the person causing such obstruction or nuisance, or carrying on such trade or occupation, or such keeping on such goods or merchandise, or owning, possessing, or controlling such building, tent, structure, substance, tank, well, or excavated, or owning or possessing such animal or tree within a time to be fixed in the order to remove such obstruction or nuisance. You will pass a conditional order requiring that person to remove such nuisance, remove such obstruction, or to desist from carrying on. In that conditional order, so pass order to desist, requiring that person from desist from carrying on, or to remove or regulate in such manner as may be directed such trade or occupation. To desist for carrying on such trade or occupation, or to remove such goods or merchandise, or to regulate the keeping thereof in such manner as may be directed. And also, he may pass a conditional order regulating the carrying of such occupation or trade in such manner as he thinks fit. Or to remove, repair, or support such building, tent, or structure, or to remove or support such tree, or to fence the tank, conditional order requiring such person to fence the tank, well, or excavation, or to destroy, confine, or dispose of such dangerous animal in the manner provided in this order. In that conditional order, he will require that person to what? To remove such nuisance, to remove such obstruction. Or if he objects to do so, in that conditional, he will require that person, such as such thing is there, such public nuisance is there, such obstruction is there, such danger is there. You please, you are hereby directed to remove it, or to regulating the trade or occupation. Or if he objects to do, if he objects the removal of that obstruction or this nuisance to appear before him, then you may appear before him or some other executive magistrate subordinate to him, any other executive magistrate subordinate to him at the time and place to be fixed by the order. In the order itself, it is to be mentioned if he objects the removal of that obstruction or that nuisance, or if he objects the order regarding this, that is regulating the trade or commerce or trade or occupation, or removal of any goods, merchandise which is dangerous or which is injurious to health, or if he object the construction of any building, etc., which should not be done, or that is a tree is to be removed, or a tank, well, etc., is to be fenced, or dangerous animal should be destroyed, confined. If he objects, then he will appear before him or any other executive magistrate at a time and place to be fixed by the order, and so cause in the manner herein after provided, as per the provided, why the order should not be made absolute. That means initially, as per section 133 of the Criminal Procedure Code, the executive magistrate will issue that is a provisional order, that is requiring that person to remove it because such obstruction affects the public, or such the keeping of such goods, etc., that affects the public, that is danger to the public. Remove it. If he objects, he should appear before the concerned magistrate or any other executive magistrate subordinate to him, and to show cause why that order will not be made absolute. No order duly made by a magistrate under this section shall be called in question in any civil court. You should remember, suppose the executive magistrate has issued a show cause notice asking somebody to remove this public nuisance or some obstruction, etc. That cannot be challenged in any civil court. Explanation: what is public place? Public place includes also property belonging to the state. Any property belonging to the state that will be treated as camping grounds and grounds left unoccupied for sanitary or recreative purpose. Sometimes some grounds are used for sanitary purpose. That grounds left unoccupied for sanitary or recreative purpose. A particular ground is used for a particular or jatra or mela, that is recreative purpose. So that is also to be any property belonging to state will be treated as public place. Camping ground, that will also, and grounds left unoccupied for sanitary or recreative purpose. 134 provides how service or notification order will be made. First provisional order will be made because asking that person such and such obstruction is there, such and such public nuisance is there, you please remove. If you are hereby directed to remove. If you have any objection, you may appear before the concerned executive magistrate to show cause why the order will not be made absolute. So in such case, the order shall, if practicable, be served on the person against whom it is made in the manner herein provided for service of summons. In the same manner, how summons is to be served on a person, in that manner that order will be served on that person. If such order cannot be served, it shall be notified by proclamation. Suppose it is not possible to serve that provisional order as like a summons, then it may be notified by proclamation published in such manner as the state government may by rules direct. If such order will be proclaimed in such manner as the state government has made rules, and a copy thereof shall be stuck up at such place, shall be fixed at such place or places as may be fittest for conveying the information to such person. The copy of such order will be affixed at a place, a fittest place, from which such order may be conveyed to the person against whom such order has been made. 135. Person to whom order is addressed to obey such a show cause. When such order has been passed, provisional order has been passed, the person against whom such order has been made, he should obey such order or to show cause. The person against whom such order is made shall perform within the time and in manner specified in the order the act directed thereby. The executive magistrate has directed somebody to remove a public nuisance, to remove an obstruction, to remove any, or to confine any dangerous animal, or remove any structure, or to fell a tree. So if such a direction has been given by such and such date, that order should be complied accordingly. Perform within the time and in the manner specified in the order, the act directed thereby, or appear in accordance with such order and show cause against the same. 136. Consequence of his failing to do so. If a person has been directed to remove a public nuisance, so if he fails to do so, if such person does not or did not appear before the executive magistrate show cause as to why that order will not be made absolute, if such person does not perform such act or appear and show cause, he shall be liable to the penalty prescribed in this behalf in section 188 of the Indian Penal Code, that disobedience of the order of a public servant, and the order shall be made absolute. 137. Procedure where existence of public right is denied. Suppose that person against whom such order is made, provisional order has been made, he denies that is the way which has been obstructed, that is not a public way, or public right is not there on the land which has, or river which has been, or a channel which has been obstructed by him. Wherein order is made under section 133 for the purpose of preventing obstruction, nuisance, or danger to public, an order has been made as per section 133, requiring a person for prevention of obstruction to nuisance or danger to public in the use of any way, river, channel or place. Only 4 cases. In the removal performance of what is made under section for the purpose of preventing obstruction, nuisance or danger. Preventing obstruction, nuisance, danger to way, river, channel or place. If somebody objects, the magistrate shall on the appearance before him of the person against whom the order was made, question him. The magistrate has a duty to question him as to whether he denied the existence of a public right in respect of the way. So the magistrate will question him whether he denies the existence of a public right in on such river, on such way or channel. Question him or place, and if he does so, suppose he denies, then the magistrate shall before proceeding under section 138 inquire into the matter. Now a duty is there, that is section 137 says, when there is allegation that somebody has obstructed or caused nuisance or danger to the public in the use of river, then in the use of channel or in the use of public place. Once that person appears before the magistrate will question him whether he denies the public right on such river, such way, such channel, such place. And if he says yes, then the magistrate shall before proceeding further in the matter under section inquire into the matter whether that is actually used by public. If in such inquiry the magistrate finds there is any reliable evidence in support of such denial, the magistrate finds there is some reliable evidence, some material is there that that is not used by public, he shall stay the proceeding until the matter of the existence of such right has been decided by a competent court. Then some evidence is there that there is a private right. It is not used by public. So in such case, the magistrate shall stay the proceeding and await the matter to be decided by the competent court. And if he finds that there is no such, suppose the magistrate finds there is absolutely no evidence that is used by public, he shall proceed as laid out in section 130. A person who has on being questioned by the magistrate under subsection 1 failed to deny the existence. Suppose the person was asked by the magistrate, if he denies the existence of public right, if he failed to deny, then has failed to adduce reliable evidence in support thereof, shall not in the subsequent proceeding be permitted to make any such denial. Such a proceeding is there. If the person who has been asked by the magistrate to inform him whether he is denying the existence of right, if he doesn't deny, or in such case, or he should not be, subsequently he will not be allowed to permitted to make any such denial. Procedure he appears to show cause. Suppose if the person against whom an order under section 133 is made appears and show cause against the order, so that person appears before the magistrate and show cause. By show cause, then the magistrate shall take evidence in the matter as in summons case. Then the magistrate will take the evidence whether actually that is matter in summons case. If the magistrate is satisfied that the order either as originally made or subject to such modification as he considers necessary is reasonable. If the magistrate finds that order originally made or some modification as is reasonable and proper, the order shall be made absolute. First provisional order is there, thereafter the order will be made absolute without modification. Or as the case may be with such modification. Even without modification, the magistrate may keep that order. Or if the magistrate thinks that some modification is required in that order, he may
pass order modifying, asking some modification, modified order. If the magistrate is not so satisfied, no further proceedings shall be taken. Suppose the magistrate is not satisfied that there is actually this obstruction of public road or there is public nuisance, etc. If the magistrate is not satisfied, no further proceedings shall be taken in the case. 139, power of magistrate to direct local investigation. So that empowers the magistrate that while making inquiry, whether it is used as by public, whether there is a public right, in such case or not, the magistrate may also direct local investigation. Once a local investigation has been made, then the report of the local investigation will be taken as evidence. That section 139 provides. The magistrate may, for the purpose of inquiry, under section 137 or section 130. What is section 137? If he denies that there is the existence of public right, he shall stay the proceeding. Similarly, 138, if he files a show cause, then the magistrate take evidence. So while making inquiry as per the provision of section 137 and 130, direct a local investigation to be made by such person as he thinks fit. The magistrate may direct that local investigation be made in the matter, or summon and examine an expert. For that, the magistrate can also summon and examine who is an expert, specially skilled in the matter. Section 45 of the Evidence Act may summon and examine an expert evidence, expert. Then 140, power of magistrate to furnish written instruction, etc. Where the magistrate directs a local investigation is to be done. Magistrate, while conducting inquiry as per section 137, 138, may direct that there may be local investigation or may examine an expert. So where the magistrate directs a local investigation by any person and under section 139, the magistrate furnish such person with such written instruction as may seem necessary for his guidance. Written instruction may be given to the person who will conduct local investigation for his guidance. Declare by whom the whole or any part of the necessary expense of the local investigation shall be paid. The magistrate also can pass on who will bear the expense of that local investigation. Then the report of such person may be raised as evidence. And once that local investigation report is submitted to the magistrate, that will be read as evidence. Where the magistrate summons and examines an expert under section 139, the magistrate may direct by whom the cost of such summons and examination shall be. When the magistrate directs that expert will be summoned and expert evidence will be taken, the magistrate may direct as who will bear the expense of that summons. 141, procedure on order being made absolute and consequence of these orders. Suppose the magistrate passes order, made the order absolute, somebody is directed to remove unobstruction public way or river, channel, etc. or to act in a particular manner, that for not doing a particular trade, not doing a particular occupation, or to regulating the particular trade or occupation in a particular manner, directing a particular excavated place, well, tank is to be fenced, or directing a particular dangerous animal is to be destroyed, confined, that direction has been given. As the case may be, if that is not obeyed, what will be the consequence? Where an order has been made absolute under section 136 or 138, the magistrate shall give notice of the same to the person against whom the order was made. Once the order is made absolute, such the order will be given informed to the person against whom it is made, and shall further require him to perform the act directed by the order. The magistrate will also require that person, directing that act to be done within a time to be fixed in the notice. In the notice, time is to be fixed. And inform him that in that order, the magistrate will inform that in case of his disobedience, he will be liable to be penalty provided by section 188 of the Indian Penal Code. Then, in spite of that, if such act is not performed within the time fixed, somebody did not remove the obstruction, somebody did not stop the particular occupation trade which is injurious to health, or somebody went on construction of a building or dispose a substance which is which occasions a conflagration explosion, or that did not remove a dangerous building, tent, structure, or dangerous tree, that did not fence a tank, well, etc., or did not confine a dangerous animal. In such case, the magistrate may cause it to be performed. Magistrate may cause, execute this order and remove such nuisance, remove such obstruction, remove such dangerous that building, or demolish that building, and may recover the cost of performing, either by the sale of any building, goods, or other property removed by his order, by selling of the property removed by his order, or by the distress and sale of any other movable property of such person. By DW, distress and sale of any movable of such person within or without such magistrate's local jurisdiction. And if such other properties without such jurisdiction, the orders are authorized, if the property is there outside the jurisdiction of the magistrate, the magistrate also authorized its attachment and sale when endorsed by the magistrate within whose local jurisdiction the property to be attached. Then no suit shall lie in respect of anything done in good faith under this section. The magistrate executes that and removes that obliging nuisance at the cost of that person, then no suit will lie in respect of anything done in good faith under the section. Section 142 sometimes comes, it gives a power to the executive magistrate to issue injunction. Normally, injunction orders are issued by the civil court. But section 142 provides that in certain cases, to prevent the commission of repeated nuisance. So in such case, the executive magistrate may issue injunction. But it provides injunction pending inquiry. Suppose inquiry is pending, and in the meantime that person is continuing that public nuisance. If in such case, the magistrate may prevent him by issuing injunction. What it says, if a magistrate making an order under section 133 considers, what he considers, that immediate measures should be taken to prevent imminent danger or injury of a serious kind to the people. When executive magistrate can issue injunction pending inquiry as per section 142, what it says, if an executive magistrate, if a magistrate making an order under section 133, who will pass order, executive magistrate considers that immediate measures should be taken to prevent imminent danger or injury of a serious kind to the public. Imminent danger and injury of serious kind to the public. Again, I am emphasizing serious kind to the public. When the executive magistrate considers that immediate measures should be taken. Immediate measure is required. What for? To prevent serious injury, serious imminent danger or injury of serious kind. That is, the executive magistrate considers. What he considers? That immediate measure, immediate action should be taken to prevent imminent danger or injury of a serious imminent danger or serious injury of kind to the public. He may issue an injunction to the person against whom the order was made, against whom such provisional order has been made, as is required to obviate or prevent such danger, to prevent or to remove such danger or injury pending the determination of the. That is interim injunction. You have not permanent injunction, interim injunction. What it says, when the magistrate making an order was passed an order under section 133 provisional order for removal of public nuisance or any as provided in section, what considers? Consider what he considers? Immediate measure should be taken. Immediate steps should be taken to prevent imminent danger or injury of serious kind of to you. Prevent what type of imminent and serious injury to you? imminent danger or injury of serious kind. Two things: imminent danger or serious injury to the public. Kind, serious kind to the public. He may issue such an injunction. He may issue an injunction against whom? Against whom such order has been made, as he required to obey, as to remove that obligation or to prevent such danger or injury pending the determination of the matter. That is interim case. In default of such person, forthwith obeying such injunction, when the magistrate, executive magistrate issues an injunction, if a person disobeys that injunction order, the magistrate may himself use or cause to use such means as he thinks fit to obviate such danger or to prevent such injury, to remove such danger or to prevent such injury. No suit shall lie in respect of anything done in good faith by magistrate under this section. 143. Magistrate may prohibit repetition or continuation of public nuisance. 143 employs the district magistrate, sub-regional magistrate, or either regional magistrate employed by the state government, or the district magistrate in his behalf may order any person not to repeat or continue a public nuisance as defined in Indian Penal Code or any special or local law. So this section 143 is something different. So when a public nuisance is committed by someone, a district magistrate or sub-regional magistrate or any other executive magistrate employed by the state government or the district magistrate in this behalf may order any person not to repeat or continue a public nuisance as defined in the Indian Penal Code or any special or local. So here, that is in a local law, some act may be treated as public nuisance. Suppose somebody is leaving this filthy water of his drain to the public. That's a public nuisance. Somebody is obstructing a portion of the public. That is also a nuisance to the public. So that is punishable under the provisions of the Indian Penal Code. So here, this is something different. Section 143 provides the district magistrate, sub-regional magistrate, or any executive magistrate special employed by the state government, or the district magistrate in this or the district magistrate in this may order any person not to repeat or continue, any person, even private person, not to continue or repeat a public nuisance as defined in the Indian Penal Code or in Indian or local law for the time being. Let us conclude. In the next class, we will discuss urgent case of nuisance or apprehended danger. That is as provided in section 100. Thank you.